Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
All right, and welcome to the Chicago Sports Podcast. This is an important time, very important time, and it also means that we're one step closer to the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. It's cut day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, D Nice, and welcome to the Chicago Sports Podcast. And with me this evening, I have my guy, Doug Plank, and a gentleman I'm not so familiar with because this is my first time working with him. I appreciate you coming through and rocking with us tonight, Mr. Tim Terrell. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Close enough.
Okay.
It's pronounced
I hate
Terrell.
you.
It's pronounced Terrell, but I
Terrell.
so
I'm
everyone's
sorry.
No problem.
I apologize. I hate to get people's names wrong, man. I hate it because people get my name wrong all the time. So I hate it, and I try my best to get it correct. But welcome, and thank you for coming in and spending time with us tonight on this very important day. It's cut day. The Bears have the 53 roster set and made, and we are ready to rock and roll. So far as roster wise, we're ready to rock and roll for Monday night. So I'm going to ask you guys. I'm going to ask you first, Tim, since you're the newcomer.
All right.
How you feel about the cuts that were made today?
Well, I don't know everybody. I actually went to practice 2 Fridays ago, and it was. I'm actually one of my teammates was Dan Roschon, who's the new offensive line coach now. And so we were trying to watch him and trying to get as much information as possible. But it just as far as the moves go, I don't think they let anyone go along the lines of there were 3 main new linemen, right, that they got.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the line's going to be better. So I think that's a good thing. I was just trying to follow the news and see what was some latest. So I can't add a whole lot to that, other than I'm just so impressed with this quarterback, Tyson,
Bagent.
Backup, man. Oh man,
yeah,
he's doing some great things, and you know, and it's for me always. It's just like shut up and show me. Let's see. It's nice, and I know you need to talk about it. Who's making the team and all that, but really until we get out there, and Doug and I made it similar way. He's a 12th rounder. I wasn't even drafted, and I ended up playing 7 years. I was cut 5 times though. So it's all about that. So if I had to comment, because I don't know I don't know all the guys. I know they got a lot of they got our receivers, number 2. What the heck is his name again? I don't want to try to guess everyone's name, but you know they have it looks like they got a good core. The line's good, and I'm really anxious to see how Caleb does.
Absolutely.
And really, that's it.
I understand. Absolutely. Because I think everyone in Chicago is in the same boat with you, sir. So don't even feel no type of way about that. Before I get to Doug, the better question should have been, what is this day like? Because you guys are professional athletes, and you all have either been through this or seen some guys that's been through this. I think the better question should have been, what is this day like? But since I know I have a few names here that fell to the list. No surprises for me, but there are a few guys that I would like the Bears to try to keep either on a practice squad or, God forbid any injury, someone gets hurt, and I would like to see these guys get an opportunity. So Doug, to you, how do you feel about the cuts that were made today? Are there any surprises for you?
There were no surprises. I mean, I didn't see anybody on there that I could remember a game in the last few weeks saying, oh my gosh, that guy is awesome. He's great.
Gotcha.
Either on defense or on offense or special teams. Those guys just stick out on you. Now you have to be very careful in special teams or in exhibition because you're not going against sometimes all the starters. These are second free agents, and so you have to try to evaluate a player on who is he going against, who did he run over, who did he make a touchdown for, and that's really what's important because you got to understand those guys underneath, they're fighting for position. I know my first year, I was running around like a crazy man, like my head just got cut off, just trying to hit anybody I could. If it wasn't their players, it was my players. I can't tell you how many times I hit linemen in the back of the knees, and they're screaming and yelling at me. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just got cut. He's going to go tell the coach I hit him in the back of the knees. The bottom line is, right now, I trust this coaching staff. I couldn't say that about some of the coaches that were here in the last couple of years. I just think the decisions they were making, you could have the best players in the world, if you have an infant coach that's making bad decisions, then it doesn't matter. They're running that same play over and over.
Mhm.
Here, and we drafted Walter the same year. I mean, it was the Walter Payton show, and it was run left, run right. Let's run a screen to Walter, or and then punt the ball. I mean, it was just on defense. We were always on the field. Probably played 75% of the game, even with having a guy like Walter Payton on the team. So, I like these coaches. I trust them. I trust them to make the best
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
personnel.
Preach, Doug. Preach.
Yes, that's it.
I have a few names
Yes.
here. Okay. We have Samari Torrey, wide receiver, which is a former Packer. Makai Gardner, cornerback. Uh, Millard Bradford, safety. Royce Freeman, running back, who was newly signed probably right before the Kansas City game. And if anyone watched that last show, I told guys it wasn't going to be long for him because he actually was with us last year on the practice squad. Royce Freeman was, so I guess he was a filler just to get through the game in Kansas City. Xavier Carlton out of Cal, defensive end. Chris Glazer, guard. Caleb Haynes, cornerback. You have Mark Perry at safety. Sways Bozeman, linebacker. Jeremiah Walker, which is a cornerback. And now these names I just named, no surprises. These guys are guys that, what I'm saying, we're giving a shot, but and hopefully we'll find them somewhere else to land on their feet. We have Thomas Gordon at tight end. And it gets interesting at this point because these are some of the guys I'm hoping that the Bears pick up back on the practice squad. One is Austin Reed. I like Austin Reed's pocket awareness, and he's a very young, raw guy, but he came from a system where he threw the ball quite often. I think he can develop here under Ben Johnson and watching Tyson Bagent and Caleb Williams, along with Case Keenum, go about their days as professionals. He can learn from those guys. Um, Joel Wilson, tight end. Then you have Ian Wheeler. Ian Wheeler was a guy, running back, that we all seen last year who tore his ACL right before this time, and he spent the whole year on IR. He came back this off season. He ended up, getting on the cut list again. Hopefully, he goes to the practice squad and he can continue to develop. His knee will get stronger and he can, remain a Bear. The running back position is a very sketchy position, and since we're here, I want to talk about it. The guys that made, of course, Swift, Monangai, Roschon Johnson. I believe what's his name? Travis Homer was on some kind of designation, so he's going to be sidelined for a bit. But I think the Bears are going to be active as they look around the league to try to find a running back who can kind of command the line of scrimmage. We know Swift, and we all want Monangai and even Johnson to be that guy, to be the guy that gets those tough yards, those tough 4 yards on first and second down. But I think the Bears are going to be shopping for another running back. This is a position of need. Like before the draft, I don't know if everyone remembers, I was 10 toes down on us getting a stud at the running back position. It didn't go that way. So we're rocking with who we're rocking with. But I think because of the way Ben Johnson's system goes, I think it's very important that we get a running back. How you guys feel about that?
Well,
Go ahead,
for
Tim.
me personally, I like to see, like I said, I like to see it on field, but that DeAndre Swift, I just love the things that he's done and that he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's always I don't study the players until I see them play. It's just
Right.
like when I tried out. I was a nobody when I got into camp, and I don't want this to be about me, but I get so excited and fired up because this smell in the air. Because when I got there, I won all these awards in college as a quarterback and all these different. And I go into the NFL and no one really knows you. It didn't matter to me. We had 15 running backs. There was really not even one spot. We drafted 2 guys, and no one knew who I was. 13th on the depth chart on all special teams. 2 weeks later, I was number 1 on everything, and I was number 1 because Doug kind of mentioned it before. In practice, I was a heat-seeking missile. I was ballistic. I realized after 2 weeks at camp, they didn't know who I was. They didn't know I won Player of the Year, and I would have had these. I did, and it wasn't like I didn't want them to know, but the coach had no idea.
Yeah.
And I said, I got myself into my room that night, and I'm like, dude, come out swinging tomorrow. So we did short yardage and goal line. I'm 205 pounds. I'm not even that big, but I would fly. No technique, fly at the cornerback because my job was to kick him out. He had to take me on because it's short yardage and goal line. And then special teams. I was knocking people out, pissing everybody off. The coaches would look at me. I knocked a lineman out. It was a punt team. They call them out, called the punt team, punt return. So we went in there, and the offensive line, the starters stayed in there to give us a look for running down the field. So I peel around, and my job is supposed to light up the first guy to set the wall on the right side. Well, this big Ronnie Lee played for he was 290 pounds. I flew into him, and it was about 290, about 6'7", and he didn't see me at all, thank God. And I hit him in the head and knocked him down. He starts running around chasing me on the field, and the coach was like, "Oh my God!" And it was that. So I got noticed. And I started. Then I got playing time, and then my job was the special teams thing. But when I don't want to get off on this tangent, but it really for me, this is what it's all about. It's all about show me on the field. They can talk all about Caleb all they want. Until that kid does something, I don't believe in him. I didn't see him. I don't think he can read defenses. I don't think he can go through the progression like you should. I loved his drive, a couple that first drive that they did, and then the backup Tyson did a beautiful job too. And so that's what I like to see. So it's hard for me to always try to remember these guys. I watch them. I remember number 9. I remember this, but it's all kind of show me, you know, and that's how and then I started making. Then by my second year in the league, you know, you're known and you learn technique, but that impression and that amazing. There's a switch. Doug and I talk about it all the time. This switch that goes off. That's literally Darius. And I know I think you played college, didn't you? Play college ball?
I actually played some college basketball. Some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, there's this switch in football that goes off, and it doesn't matter how big they are. I didn't care. I would fly into the way, and then you learn technique. But for me, it's watching what they're doing and not all their old stats. For me, it's show me. And then you really, and like Johnson, what I love about him, number 1, I like the fact that he's aggressive. And secondly, I like the fact that he's not afraid. They're not there to coddle you. You know, let's go watch film. See this up here. This play you got your ass beat. This play you're getting your ass beat. And here you suck. Yeah. If that doesn't change tomorrow, you're gone. That's how it was in the 80s. They were relentless. And then there were a couple guys, when you go back into the training room, training table, you'd see a couple guys taped to a goalpost because they pissed off one of the linemen or something.
Yeah.
Amazing. But you know what I mean? It's more show me on the field. And you can talk all you want about what you did last year, but I don't even know if I didn't even answer your question, but I wanted to say that because that's how I evaluate somebody. Not just shush about him and let him do his thing, and hopefully he can do it. Caleb, what I'm talking about.
Respect. Hey, listen, I respect the old school mentality. I also have an old school mentality. I didn't play college football, but I played some high school football. So I do get it, and I do understand everything you're saying, and you're absolutely right, because what you're saying translates on every level of football.
Mhm.
Every level. From
But
Pee Wee League all the way to the highest of of the trade, which is the NFL. Everything you're saying translates 1,000%. So I totally agree with you.
yeah,
Now, Doug, um, how do you feel about the running back position right now as it stands now?
I really don't think that, let's face it, Chicago Bears have been known for running backs, since the inception of their league. And I think they've got an adequate group right now that
Hmm.
can succeed. The thing is, though, I mentioned the name before, Walter Payton. It's hard to run when all 11 guys on defense know you're going to get the ball. It's going to be
Absolutely.
play. I mean, that's
true
where
story.
I love these coaches because they are going to bring in a philosophy that we haven't seen around here for a long time.
Yeah,
Winning philosophy.
agree.
So it's going to be play calling. When you're a running back, and I was a running back in high school, and I hear the play come in, and it's some play that I know they're going to stuff me on, running through a guard or a tackle. No, it's got to be surprise. It's got to be a fake handoff or a read or something like that. Don't just keep doing the same stupid thing over and over and over again. And I think that's what the Bears have done recently, in terms of their philosophy,
Oh,
winning football games. And I think the coach has to be likable for the players. Players are not dumb. They see things that are going on.
Absolutely.
Like Tim said, you know what? They're going to judge your heart. What kind of heart do you
Mhm.
have? You have willingness to sacrifice your body. I don't care if it's on offense, defense. I made Chicago Bears based on special teams. I got on the kickoff team. I was on the kickoff return team, punt return team. I figured, okay, they know I can do those four things because I did those at Ohio State. And, but now all of a sudden an opportunity opened at the free safety position. Just like Tim said, I never played free safety. I didn't even know what the heck was going on. I started watching film in between the practices and trying to figure out what the heck does a free safety do. I'll tell you what he does in Chicago. He makes tackles. He's up there.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
especially
indeed.
when they're on.
You're not back there in deep third. Oh, yeah, isn't this wonderful? I'm just floating around here. No, you're watching those guards come across the line of scrimmage and you're off. You're up there as fast as you can, ready to put that helmet on somebody.
Yes, sir.
I know you can't do that anymore, but it was fun.
It's Darius. It's never great when your strong safety is leading the team in tackles. But
Absolutely not.
for those who are younger than 40 years old or whatever, Doug Plank is just such a legendary guy. He's about 8 years older than me. I was and growing up, we had two plays. I did the Bears were horrible in 75 but we watched the game and loved it because of Walter Payton on offense,
Hmm.
46 on defense. And you would see this missile come flying in. I mean, really, it didn't look human. Like a human body is not supposed to not be scared to run that fast into a brick wall. And he took out Earl Campbell one play. It was unbelievable. But we were, and I made a comment on Facebook the other day about Doug, how I never really had an idol personally, and I thought about it, I was like, I always looked up to Doug though, because that's who I wanted to be because as a kid playing football, everyone wanted to be Doug, and then everyone else on offense, you wanted to be Walter.
Yeah.
And it was such a, and then I got to that experience, got me to play like he did. I spent I got pictures you should see. I mean, I've been knocked out so many times in games on kickoffs and just in practice a lot when we wouldn't say anything. Like they took my helmet away one time. I'm like, no, I'm making the team. I'm fine. Because I was knocked out. I fell back. I got it on film. It's unbelievable. But the two guys you have on right now are two guys that are Doug was an amazing. I got a chance to play a little bit and back up pretty much. But I was a special teams guy, but that switch went off and it was literally unexplainable. I would just and I didn't win all the battles, but it was just the adrenaline rush was so amazing. And that stuff that stuff carries on to the rest of the guys on the team. We got to elevate our practice because of the way he's playing. So
Absolutely.
that was I rep with the coaches. They liked that. With Doug, it was the same thing. It's like we're 4-12 when I was with the Falcons. I remember Steve Barkowski came up to me and Jeff Van Note, Billy Johnson. He comes up to me before the final cut and they said, Timmy, congratulations on making the team. And Barkowski goes, I heard you were a college quarterback. He goes, I've never seen anything like this. Billy White shoes. I was like, I can't believe this, But you get that chance. And I said, I don't want to ever go through life saying woulda, coulda, shoulda. So
Absolutely.
we set a tone. And I went to, different teams because of that. It wasn't necessarily my great play.
Mm-hmm.
I set a tone that I love, that I love the camaraderie. But for me, I'm so much into show me and don't tell me. Whether it's in the business world, you can sell. Well, show me. Show me why your product's better. It's really cut and dry. It's almost it sounds kind of mean sometimes because Darius, you've been in film rooms and Coach Jeff, and you say, "Boy, do you suck!" Look at oh, God, you see what I see, don't you? You're like, yeah, I see. I think you need to change what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, those film rooms are vicious, even at the high school level.
Sure,
especially when when one of my coaches used to get upset, he wouldn't even address you by your name. He'd just call you by your number.
Buddy Ryan. That's
Buddy Ryan. Yeah. Buddy Ryan.
Everybody by their name. You were a number, and that was it. You weren't a very good number because he's put a couple adjectives in front of that number. You, Evan, whatever, 46. You know what? You only want to hear one of those once. You never want to hear another thing like that in front of that meeting room. So you would do everything you could. Even like Tim knows this. It's not a crime to get knocked down. It's a crime to stay down on the play. An effort Eddie Bunny or something like, hey, I'm back in this play. And go hit somebody. I was proud. One time I knocked three guys off their feet on a special teams play. It was on a kickoff return. You know what? And I just did the same thing. Blast him, get back up. Blast another guy, get back up. Usually the first person was the kicker, though. I started with him. So I don't know if you can count that as a player. Because it's not hard to knock kickers over.
I got to fight with Kevin Butler, so don't worry, man.
Shit.
I was like, what's your deal, man? He kicked the squib kick. Everyone ran by me, ready to turn around. He's the only one left. I can't go backwards, right, Darius?
Absolutely.
Go hit somebody.
Full speed ahead.
The kicker.
Hey,
Kevin Butler.
if he's in the jersey pads and helmet, he's eligible.
He could make a tackle.
Listen, I cannot express enough how great it feels having you two guys on here with me. You two guys are the epitome of leaving it all out there. You know what I'm saying? You guys are definitely bringing it today. I still feel the passion. You guys act like y'all finna suit up next week.
Man, you know what? The thing you miss about the game, and I like the couple people what they said about the game. What do you miss? I remember them asking the fullback for the Miami Dolphins, the 72 team. What was his name again?
Zonka.
Larry Zonka was
Larry Zonka. Yeah, Zonka. Zonka said, asked him, what do you miss about the game? He goes, you know what I miss? I miss 5 seconds. He says, I miss breaking the huddle and walking up to that line. That feeling you get in your stomach, Darius, probably with basketball or before the game or you're playing the national anthem. I'd look around and I see guys your size there, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on here? How the hell did I end up here? How am I? I'm looking at like guys like Hampton, and I'm like, and guys on my team that are twice my size. I'm like, whoa, this is insane. And then you see the fans, and it's just this. And I know you probably had a little bit of different way you were going to go with this.
Nah. Go for it, man. Go for it. This is exactly what I'm talking about, though. This right here, this is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Doug Plank. I'm not kissing ass, Doug. I always try to figure out or to not be so in awe of him, because when Doug stays with me, stays here, he comes to town a lot, and him and his wife can stay here, and he stays here a lot. And we'll go out, and I'll tell you what, anyone over 45, and we ran into a police officer, Doug and I, one time. He parked by my car, and I said, hey, what? We were walking out back to our car in the restaurant. Like, hey, be careful about that car. We were kind of joking with him. So we started talking with him, and I said, what we're talking, I said, by the way, are you a football fan? Because he said something about the Bears. Are you a Bears fan? He goes, yeah. I go, does this guy look? And this is the response I get from almost everybody. I go, this guy look familiar? Looking at Doug, and Doug's just, it's just this nicest guy. He's looked like a librarian, for crying out loud. And he goes, no. I go, Doug Plank. He goes, oh my God, are you serious? You are Doug Plank. Oh my God. And he goes, when I was a kid, I wanted to be you. And he starts does everything I did and everyone else does. And the way you hit, and they named the 46 defense after you. It's just so much fun. So when Doug comes to town here in Chicago, now they don't know as much about him because when he comes to town, Doug will tell you, I started out with him. Like I said, I invited 10 of my friends to go to dinner, ended up being about 52. So we met, and he just talked about his thing, but they love it. And then he was such an inspirational human being, and the passion and the love and the honesty and the tenacity. You just can't teach it, and you can recognize it when you see that in a player. That's what I like about players. We'll teach them how to technique. We can't teach that. We can't teach them how to fly in. Who's going to take on Earl Campbell? Are you kidding me? I mean, you should see. You can see the clip. You can go on TV and see it. He takes him in his thigh, and Earl went out. I don't know if they show that, but Doug got up. I think. Doug, were you a little daisy?
Yeah, I just needed some help getting back to the huddle. That's all.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. It was like he was tackling a 150-pound guy. He's like, it was unbelievable, and that everyone noticed that because we only had, the Bears sucked. We had Avellini as a quarterback who was brutal. And we had Walter Payton, who was amazing, and Doug Plank on defense. And, of course, Gary Fensick later on became great as well. But we got funny stories, too. That would be
great. Hey, listen, I took the time to watch some clips and highlights of Mr. Plank on YouTube. And let me tell you something, Doug. The league wouldn't appreciate you today. The league would not appreciate you today, but I tell you one thing, the NFL will, because the fines that you would accrue.
Amen. Isn't that the truth?
And it's so crazy, but listen, Doug, you were a machine. And this is from me. I listen, I have nothing but appreciate the way you left it all out on the field and the way you made guys think about you before the game, and they had thoughts of you. Even they were probably laying with that woman that night and still thinking about you.
What was really Tim told you his background, Northern Illinois, undrafted coming, in the NFL. It was no different for me. I wasn't some kind of a special guy. I mean, I ran down on kickoff teams at Ohio State, but that was about it. And a punt return. And, that's where I just treated every play like it was a kickoff. Just go up and hit somebody. I would get up down. I'm looking for a guard and a tackle. They're usually just sauntering around the huddle, the play. Man, I don't care how heavy they are, how big they are. You blast them going 20 miles an hour, they're flying. And
your fans need to go look at you, like you said. There, you just type in Doug Plank highlight film. Oh my God! Sit back and enjoy. You're gonna cringe a lot. You're gonna be like, "Oh, how does a human do that? How would someone actually? Why would they do this?" And when I'm telling you, when you meet Doug and you know Doug like I do, it's amazing how smart, how kind, how passionate, how loving. All the events we go to. I go, Doug, we got to go, man. He's the last guy to leave. There's only one guy, and they all want his time. And he is just such a giving person and an inspiration on how to handle that type of success. He went into the business world and did very well, and has an amazing wife and two beautiful older adult kids. And it's just so fun to be around him because he's a man of action, not excuses. He never, ever, and I would suggest this, everyone who goes through life, don't go through life saying woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Absolutely.
And at some point, grieve your loss or whatever, dust your stuff off and get back up. Whatever it is you're doing, and both of us, since our friendship 15 years ago, we have so much fun. Going out and I love being and doing events. I like to do that and watch these kids who are just dreamers, and they they admire you, and I do it because, God, it is such a great feeling that God gave me the ability to hopefully inspire somebody. Whether I motivate them or not, I don't know. Hopefully they're already motivated. But if I can inspire them just based on, I didn't plan this. This worked out because of what other people did for me. My coaches, my junior college coach, my college coach, and the pros, if you don't have it down by then, you're in trouble. And my parents and these people that inspired us and showed us how to do it. And mostly it was this, Darius, just don't come up with an excuse. My coach used to say, and he never swore, Coach Bill Mallory, he'd say, excuses are like buttholes. Everyone's got one. He wouldn't swear. So kind of funny. But don't just figure out, or you lost this one, dust yourself off. Yep. And it's really cool to be around that constantly because this man lives it. And I love hanging with him. And, hopefully you get to meet him in person and see him in action.
Yeah, it's very infectious, I can tell. Just by working with him, on the podcast, Doug brings the fire. He knows how to mix it up very well. He has you can tell the fire that he has inside, but you can also tell that he's so cool, calm, and collected, and you can also tell he's a giving person, has a, wonderful demeanor, but when he gets fired up, look out.
Yes, sir.
Look out.
I don't think he's as dangerous as he used to be. Doug, you got about what? You got six both hips, both knees, both shoulders?
Right. I got 6 joints that have been replaced.
Nice. I got nothing. I lost a lot of brain cells.
I got in my head. There's not much there. And you know what though? What you're just saying, Tim, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Oh my gosh, that's the NFL town, I thought. Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, I'm going, oh my God, I just would like to meet those guys someday. I didn't realize I was going to be on the field. Franco Harris, I was honestly, when I played those guys, I was up to Terry. I go, one time I had to play and I didn't get there in time, so I just stopped and somebody else sacked Terry Bradshaw. I go, hey Terry, how you doing today? I walked in, he goes, what are you talking about? He didn't know who he is. Franco Harris was the same way. I mean, oh man, it was just it was
That's
fun.
awesome. Hey Darius, can I tell you a great story?
Go for it.
Great story about the NFL. So I installed carpet all through high school. Junior college, in my 7-year career, I installed. And when the off season, I'm installing carpet. So anyway, my buddy Louie's father is a plumber, and they heard in 1983, before my senior year at Northern, I heard that he's, I go, well, Lou, could you get your dad to get me an appointment with Jim McMahon, and I could sell him the carpet and install it? So he does. He gets me an appointment. I get to meet Jim. I bring carpet samples there. I brought 2 footballs with me. I wanted him to sign. And so have you ever seen the Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live when he's interviewing Paul McCartney? And he's really motivated. And he's like, oh, Paul, when you said live and let die, you didn't die, did you? He goes, no, I'm right here, Chris. I'm right here. It's just, I was like feeling like that. So anyways, I ring the doorbell and there he is. There's this big halo like over him. And I walk in with my samples, and Nancy, his wife's there, pregnant with the first kid. And I was like, Jim, nice to meet you, Tim Terrell. And he knew I was playing quarterback at Northern. I told him, and I installed carpet. So I went down, measured, did everything. I'm upstairs. He goes, you got the job, Tim. We're going with the gray Berber carpet. I'm like, perfect choice. And so I grab my little samples. I shake his hand and I shake and I start to leave. I'm like walking out the door and I'm like, God, this is so cool. God, can't believe I just met McMahon. And I get to the front door and I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot I have the footballs in the car. So I turn around real quick. I go, oh, wait, Jim, before I leave, would you sign my balls for me? And he starts laughing his ass off. His wife drops down to the ground, laughing her ass up. He's like, sure, Tim, you want me to sign your left one or your right one first? I go, no, I got 2 footballs in the car. He goes, go get the balls. I'll sign the balls. So he signs my balls, right? It gets better. So I go on. We do the job. And then I had, it was about a month before camp. So I went into camp in college and we went on to win the Mid-American Conference. We won the conference and we won our bowl game as well. And before we played our bowl game, they had the MVP of the league, and I was the MVP of my team. And I went to the award ceremony, and it turns out I won the Jefferson Award. I was the MVP of the league. And so I get this award, and back then, it's not on, you don't get cell phones. So Jim McMahon read it in the paper. He called my mom and he called me at school and congratulated me for winning this award. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. That'll be the last I see of him. Now, fast forward 2 years, I make it with the Atlanta Falcons the next year. My second year, we play the '85 Bears. I was our team captain for the Atlanta Falcons, so I went out for the coin with Gerald Riggs and Rick Bryant. And I walk out there, and it's Jimbo Covert, Sean Gale, Gary Fensick, Mike Singletary, and Dennis Gentry. Or who else was it? Dennis Gentry, yeah.
Right, yeah, probably Gentry, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Dennis. And so I'm just shaking hands. I'm like, God, this is so cool. I shake hands, and we flip the coin, shake hands. By the way, we were all tied up at the coin toss. Then stuff got out of control. We ended up losing 36-0. But anyways, so we flip the coin, and then we shake hands, and I start to run back to the sidelines, and I hear this, Timmy. I turn around. Who's halfway out in the field? McMahon. He's like, what the hell are you doing here, dude? I said, I made it, man. I made it. And he told the whole team as they're kicking our ass, he's like, that dude running out there like a crazy man was putting carpet in my house 2 years ago. And now he's kept, whatever. Tyrone Keys would tell me about it and a few of the other guys over the years. And I've become friends with Jim. But you know what? And I say that to kids. I never knew I was going to be there 2 years earlier. I had no idea. No idea. And with person, I mean, with the love and doing the work, and you got to do the work because
absolutely.
And also you get lucky because Doug will tell you there's a lot of guys. Look at Doug. Doug goes in, he fills in because he gets a chance. Look at Brady. He's got 7 rings because Russell goes down. And I mean, this stuff, it's unbelievable. And so I am so blessed, and I have a billion stories because I met so many people in my travels in the NFL and overseas, and bands that I met and become different people. And I just love it. And I try to inspire, as Doug does, we both do, as many people as possible because we're both feel very lucky.
Hey, shout out to you, and also shout out to Doug. Listen, man, I love to hear stories from former players, man. It gives a fan like me the inside track, man. And you like the stuff you hear from former players as a fan of this game, not really being on the inside. It's just so, man, you don't believe that some of the people that you idolized growing up on the TV have such a very interesting life and very interesting background, man. When you hear former guys talk about them, man, it's a trip, but it's a joy, man. It's a joy to hear this stuff.
That's awesome.
That's another reason why I'm glad to be working with you guys tonight. I want to give a shout out in the middle, you know what I'm saying? In the middle of this, guys, we like to give a shout out to the chat, give a shout out to everyone that's been watching us tonight. Shout out to Track, shout out to Miss Cheryl, shout out to V Dog, shout out to EV Warrior, who agrees with you, Tim. You have to prove it on the field. He's 10 toes down with that theory, and I agree with you as well. Terrence Wilson, bear down to you, sir. Like I said, V-Dog, everyone watching us tonight, man. And V-Dog gives you a special shout out, Doug, Mr. 46, the one and only. Charles D.
Man, oh man.
Charles D. Loves your stories, Tim and Doug. It loves the stories, wants to keep it coming. But before we go back into story mode, we're gonna talk a little bit more about cut day. Because I have a few more questions for you guys, involving, I know, Tim, you said that you don't you really watch watch the guys on the field, not so much with the players. And I do understand that notion, but there's a very important position on the field that the Bears are kind of in flux with, and that's the left tackle position. We all know how important it is. We don't have to be quarterbacks to understand how important that spot is. We have a situation where we have a guy that's cool. He has experience, often injured, and he's okay, but he's not the guy that we would like there to be protecting Kayla's backside. Now, I've been on record to say that our future left tackle is playing on Saturdays right now. Currently, he's playing on Saturdays, but Braxton Jones has been serviceable And they drafted a guy like Ozzy Trapilo, which is a right tackle, but they was hoping that they can convert him into a left tackle, which is very tough to do, especially waiting to get to the highest level to ask a guy to become something that he's never been. Pretty tough, but I appreciate the efforts. The Bears trying, but nah, it's not working. You're gonna keep him over on the right side. He can add some much needed depth just in case our 10th pick in the first round a couple years ago has any injuries. But I think the Bears, they could be shopping on the waiver wire once everything goes through, once all these cuts come, because people getting cut from the team is not all bad, because some of these guys end up landing on their feet in some very advantageous situations. So it's not all bad, but I think the Bears are going to be kind of sneaking and trying to see if they can get lucky, to find them a left tackle, which is very rare, because if you're a good left tackle, you're not going anywhere, especially at this time of the year. But the left tackle position, Doug, I'm gonna go to you. Let's talk about how important that position is.
I would say absolutely. Everybody behind the line of scrimmage on offense and defense, it's all about the line. Like, is a free safety, I wanted the best pass rush that we could get. Get after that quarterback. It's going to make my job easier. He's going to throw the ball in desperation. He's going to throw it before he wants to. If he has all the time in the world, just like on the offense, if there are no opening holes, you're never going to stop him. Back in the day when I was there, there were so many more running plays and running backs than there were receivers, because it was a running game at that time. Well, it's evolution of it. It's changed. Everything is passing now. And so you absolutely need that center and 2 guards, 2 tackles. That pass protection means everything. And every play breaks down after like 3.5 to 4 seconds. That means, whatever coverage you're in, after 3.5 or 4 seconds, the coaches used to tell us this, now you're almost in man-to-man coverage. If you started out in zone, you were to match up with the guy in your zone. So it became man-to-man after like 4 seconds. So, but you know what? Dan Hampton, Steve McMichael, he should be in there choking that quarterback in 5 seconds, not throwing the ball down the field. And you never want to. And here's the other thing: it takes away from your aggression when you don't have a line play, because that quarterback can sit back there forever and wait for crossing routes and post patterns and all sort of things to make you look bad. Everything is tied in with that pass rush and pass protection on offense. Because if you don't have that, then you don't have anything.
Totally agree. How about you, Tim? How you feel about that left tackle position?
Here's what I think, and here's what I would do as a quarterback, and what I like about this coaching staff is that regardless of how good they are, one of the main things they did with Caleb, when you saw that first drive he did, that smoking drive where he's 6 or 7, that ball was gone after 3 seconds, or
yes, indeed.
At the most, almost. And that's how so if you're having problems at your left tackle, your drops, you're not going to have 7-step drops. You're not going to have 5-step drops. You're going to maybe roll out to the right side or away from the weak side the weak side. And I think that's what I love about the coaches is unlike the previous staff, I think that they'll obviously be more creative. I love their aggression. I really do like how aggressive they are. But I think that's the key. You'll do a lot of small things that like going on 2 really, when I was a quarterback, I was an option quarterback, but I did a lot of sprint out. I would carry out fakes. I would bring 3 guys with me. You'd see it on film. I would just keep, I did it every play. So it's something you've got to have that quarterback do, because now everyone's guessing. And when you constantly are high, I would run out there. I'd hand the ball off, run out and hit the defensive end as hard as I could. It would I just pop him. And I wasn't like I was injuring him. He was hurting me. But I still had the ball. You would watch on film how they would freeze these backers. And the backside post will be open or something will be open. So there's things you can do that'll help you control the weaknesses there. And I love staff, and I love how not only aggressive, but how creative too they do get, right? I think that's going to help. And so That's what's so different for me than last year. Is that.
And you bring up something real interesting, Tim. Doing things to kind of just in layman's terms, just try to make the linemen look better than they actually are. Now, I heard from a coach, and this may explain this may be right on the button, or it may be explain why he's a former coach. But what he told me was that it was on the quarterback to make the offensive line look better. How you feel about that?
Well, there's a percentage of that that's right. There's the
Mm-hmm.
things like I just talked about that you can do that'll make them look better. When we played the Bears in '85, they beat us 36-0. The next game they played was Miami. They lost. And you know why they lost? Is because Dan Marino, they saw what we were doing. 5 steps, 7-step drop, getting sacked just about every time, throwing the ball, getting picked off, and it was impossible. Marino, when you go and watch that game, watch how fast that ball's gone.
Yeah.
It was gone. And because they know the 46 defense, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to change our linemen. We got to get rid of the ball quicker. We got to call plays where the reads are quicker, and they're probably a little bit simpler because you're not reading 1, 2, 3. Usually your first read is a short out, and then your second one's going to be a 14-yard out or something. The third one might be a corner. And there's a progression. And, and I think Miami did a great job, and I hate to go back that far, but it really applies today. Is if you have that weakness, stop dropping back 5 yards or 7 yards. You can't control them that long. And then do some draws, and which is, again, goes back to the coaching side of it. I think that's ideal. That's going to be awesome because they can do a lot of fakes and then carrying out those damn fakes. Right. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Now that I've mentioned it, watch some of the quarterbacks that do it. And if they have plays that they can run by keeping it sometimes, that makes it even more harder for the linebackers and Doug, because a lot of Doug's keys are the line, or as a safety, I think, are the guards, right, Doug?
Yes, guards and tackle.
The fakes, it's such a silly thing to talk about, but it's not. It literally is like blocking 3 guys. If you carry out a great fake and you got to run a couple and you just tuck it away like you're running it, they can't see it.
Yeah, deception plays a big key in this thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, because especially when you get to the NFL level, and that's what make guys like Sean McVay, him especially. He's a master of deception because he may not have the best unit out there on the field, but the way he runs the plays, he makes everything look the same to the point where the defense can't decipher what's what. And it slows the game down for the old lineman, and it also opens it up for the quarterback. So what you said is absolutely right. There is a level of deception, and not to, like you said, not to go too far back, but that game against Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino is a master class on how to on a couple of things, on how to handle the rush, and also on how to, you know what I'm saying, go through progression, because I think Dan and those guys were ahead of their time back then, because normally when you go through progressions, you go 1, 2, 3, and you go across, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But in that particular case, what they did, they just took what the defense gave. They didn't try to do too much. They didn't try to, you know what I'm saying? They didn't try to reinvent the wheel in this situation. It was one play at a time. And if the defense shows this, we're going there. That also slows up the pass rush because it gets the ball out of your hand quick. And even though back then, even when the quarterback got rid of the ball, they can knock his head off. But by the time he got rid of the ball, there was no reason to.
I think Doug will agree with me on this one, and that is, you know what? Just simplify things. If your quarterback or your people aren't, it's just too much to think about. Keep it simple. Now, getting back to what Doug was talking about earlier about running that same play. Well, sometimes just for the main plays that work that no one because I don't care if they know what I'm doing. I'm a better athlete than you. I'll get man coverage. I can beat him. He knows what I'm doing, but at some point it doesn't matter. And what happens is when you're confused, that great athlete turns into a very average athlete right, Doug? I mean, they're just and that's half the battle. But if they know what they're doing and they're confident, man, I know how to. I mean, I know how to come out of the backfield. I learned how to read man coverage. Then my route changes. I go right at the guy, put a move on him. I go inside or outside, dip and rip, and then make a move, and it becomes a forget what they call that route, but it's a you could go any way you want it. But it's keeping it simple too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to do that. Like with Caleb, in the beginning it was too much. I think for all the guys, they'll do what you can do. And I think personally, Doug, I don't know about you, but that's the best way to coach them as well. Don't just because you have a system, it doesn't have to be so, dumb it down a little bit if you want to call it that. But when you get a phenomenal athlete, it doesn't matter who they go up against, they're going to beat them.
Right. And Tim, to your point, I think the league or some of the smarter guys in the league, let's say that some of the smarter guys in the league are going back to that method. They're not sticking to the old way for quarterbacks to read progression because, like you said, it forces them to hold the ball entirely too long. Nowadays, these guys are much faster, they're much stronger, and they're getting back there quick. Sometimes on some of these quarterbacks, they're getting back there before that guy can plant that back foot. So, I think they're going into a more, instead of a numerical progression, I think they're going toward a new player progression, meaning reading the defenders instead of, actually going through the motions of he's not open, he's not open, he's not open. I think they're just reading, hey, look, this is where we coming out of the huddle, under the center. I'm reading. They're showing quarters or whatever. In quarters, normally they're going to do this. If they do this, the ball is going here. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is where the ball going. On first read. I don't even have to go through anything. I know if that safety does this, that ball is going here. If that corner drops back, that ball is going here. If that linebacker comes in, that ball is going here. And it's so much faster and it's so much efficient, for these younger quarterbacks that, like you said, have a problem going through that numerical progression because everyone's not taught that, especially at the amateur level.
Right. One of the interesting, I want to see if Doug will back me on this one. I don't know. I think they still do it this way, but I don't know, Darius, if you know that when you play a game, so say the Rams are playing the Bears, they used to drive the film out, but we would get their last 3 games.
Yes.
They would break the film down. So it's broken down film. It's not just the game, but they break down. They just show receivers. So they break down film. You get the last 3 games that they played, and you give the last 3 games you played. So when people study film, and a lot of people don't know this, but so you get that, and what happens there is they're able to study, okay, when they played the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Bears the last 3 games, and they were going inside the 20, typically, what are you going to see? Well, in these 3 games, it's man coverage. And so it gives you the tendencies, right?
Yeah.
When you're going into a game, when they talk about studying film, that's what they're talking about. It's not like it's going to happen, but you can anticipate it. So you can be looking out for it because maybe there's a blitz and we got to do a hot call. And a hot call shuts everything down. You hit the guy in the flat and he's there. We're anticipating it because this is what we've seen. And it's really cool. And if you remember the game against Tampa, the Super Bowl, which I'm sure you did, against Seattle when they hit the quick post, that kid watched the film that they would do this quick slant at the 1-yard line for some stupid reason. He remembers seeing it. He jumps it and intercepts the ball. They lose the game. It was amazing. It's a great story on studying film.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely.
This dude,
Absolutely.
I couldn't. I was like, oh my god. What? First of all, why? But you know what I mean? So a lot of people don't know that. And I was like, I always remember when we were, Doug, you two, our film guy had to meet another film. They'd have to drive halfway or, even the pros, I know in college, I think we did the same thing. Yeah. But anyways, interesting fact.
Very much so. We got a couple more cuts to talk about. Alex Cook. This is a guy that's a hard hitting safety that I hope the Bears keep on the practice squad. He played very well in the time that he got in the game. He kind of popped out because he was giving out some jarring hits, when guys either came across the middle and he was a very good threat at the goal line as well.
Darius, where did he go to school? Where did he go to school?
I went to school in Atlanta.
No, I'm sorry. Where
Actually,
did he go to school? Where did this guy you're talking about go?
Cook, not quite sure.
It doesn't matter. I was just curious.
Yeah, not quite sure, but I can find it for you. But
I'll check it out.
he's a very interesting guy though. Like, just his play style. He has a very old school play style. And you can tell by the way he was tackling. I mean, it was all legal. It wasn't nothing worth a fine or a flag. But the way he, you could tell throughout the game that guys kind of feared him, in the games. Ricky Stromberg is a center that, I hope they keep. JP Richardson is a wide receiver that at the beginning of camp he really popped out. He's making some very exciting catches. Odell like catches, Odell Beckham type catches in camp. And he ended up being cut today. Joshua Miles, a tackle. Tasheem Johnson's cornerback. Jonathan Ford. Jonathan Ford is a guy that I hope the Bears can retain, but I do not know simply because he's a mauler in the trenches. He's a D tackle. Fortunately for us, we got Big Bill to the fact that we can't keep Jonathan Ford here as well. But hopefully, if they find some way to land him on the practice squad or something like that, and they keep him in the building. Maurice Alexander, very slippery wide receiver. Popped out a lot, in a few other exhibition games. Caught, I want to say, a leaping touchdown from Tyson Bagent against Miami. If you have a little time, Tim, check that one out if you haven't seen it. Very impressive, man. He was pretty good on special teams
Say
too.
again, which one is it?
Maurice Alexander. He's a wide receiver.
Okay.
And the Miami game, he caught a touchdown from Tyson Bagent in the back of the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little guy, but he's very athletic, very fluid. We have Devin Duvernay, who's a Pro Bowl special teams guy, so they kind of bounced him Alexander out of the picture. Two guys that were on our team last year. One guy that's famous for the fumble. Doug Kramer Jr. was famous for fumbling at the goal line versus the Commanders. He's a guard. When Eberflus and company tried to run the trick play on the goal line, and Doug Kramer was the unfortunate guy that had to get that handoff and try to get it over the goal line, and it didn't go so well. He was waived today, but I do think he'll be able to be retained on the practice squad. Bill Murray was the guy that I like very much. He's another guy that I think they're going to try to reclaim as well. He's an interior old lineman, guard, center. He has that versatility. We all know what versatility means when you a guy kind of on the fringe like that. The more you can do, the more sought after you will become.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Does he cut grass too? That Bill Murray?
I don't know.
Check.
But I think he may try to figure that out.
From what you just said, the more you can do. I got to tell you a real quick story. We had I think I was telling you that this was so funny. We had this coach, and I just looked him up. He died. Larry Bechtold. He's like 5'2" tall. He was an offensive line coach, the funniest guy ever. And he would be talking he'd go up to all these linemen, and he'd be like, "So, Billy Fralick, Bill Fralick is a monster.
Yeah.
You gonna play well this week?" Because and he's chewing gum like real obnoxious, and he's just kind of being funny. He was just so funny, and so Barkowski and I were sitting outside while the players were walking out for practice. Steve Barkowski, they didn't see us because we're sitting right on the side. And Bart's like, he would throw the ball at their backs and hit them in the back, and then they're like, "Bart, what's that?" He goes, "Hey man, you got to get your head around." So everyone would come out. He kept throwing the ball.
Oh wow!
It was just so much fun. But Coach Beckhold was out there with us, and he's picking up candy wrappers. He's chewing his gum as we're doing this. He's like, "Timmy, remember this, and don't forget it." He goes, "The more you can do, Timmy." So he's like, "I'm picking this up because this is what I do. because I can do this and I go. And I was just laughing my butt off. He's like, the more you can do, the more you can do. And he's gum rippers. And, oh my, that's the other thing. We had so much damn fun. The stories are, I guess they would get kind of boring after a while, but they're
I don't think so.
Like you're hanging out with Billy White Shoes Johnson, Jeff Van Note, Eric Dickerson, Duval Green, Mel Owens, Jackie Slater, Jim Everett, Jim Kelly when I was with them. I mean, you're like, this is in the fun stuff we did, in the locker room.
Yeah.
Steve McMichael's story, real quick one, and I'll shut up because it involves Doug. And it says, he goes, let me tell you something about Doug Plank. He was telling the story to everybody. He says, you know what? Yeah, he's a tough guy. No, I get it. But listen, just because the whistle blow doesn't mean the play's over in practice. Because Plank's coming. He's coming. 2 seconds later, he come flying into the pile and knocked me in the back of the knees or something like that. Something like that, Doug, didn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately. You know what, though? You never know when the play is going to be over. They always say, you play till you hear the whistle.
Yeah.
If I didn't hear the whistle, I would keep playing for 5 minutes. I don't care. I'd go to another guy. But until you hear the whistle, and if there was no whistles blown, I felt everybody was fair game.
Darius, that's the Woody Hayes in him.
Yeah. Good name. Great name.
Fun, though. It was I just told players, if you don't think you can make the tackle, please get out of the way because I'm coming right behind you full speed. And I'm trying to make a play. One time, I remember we were playing the Washington team. I don't even want to say what their nickname was.
Right.
Their logo. But anyway, the Redskins. And, an official, I'm running up, and I see this hole open, and here comes this running back through here. Oh, shoot, he was a big fullback. And anyway, I'm going to go hit him right in the legs, hit him right in the thighs, full speed. At the last second, the line judge is shifting around left to right. He shifts himself right in front of the hole. And I get this official full speed in the back. He went diving first like this. He made the tackle. John Riggins. He made the tackle on John Riggins. And I didn't get any penalties. I got nothing. I was wonder who got credit for that tackle.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Doug, how many times you said please when you was on that field, man?
Yeah, no. It's usually I would apologize to somebody if I hit him really hard.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Get out of here. Get away from me. I don't want to hear anything.
That's just weird. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Are you up yet?
Get out of the way. So it was fun. Like Tim, I look back on it now. There's no sorrow, nothing. I don't care if I got knocked out. It was still fun right up to the second. I remember waking up a couple times, in the operating, in the emergency room at the hospital, the fluorescent lights up in the ceiling going, I wonder where I'm at.
Wow.
I'm hopefully I'm in heaven and not the other place.
Yeah.
Until I found out I was at the hospital. It was just so much fun. I honestly, just like Tim, I would do it again. I'd do it in a second. It was because it just made your life. You felt like after games, you're like, you know what? I gave everything I could, and whether we won or lost, it was better, of course, if we won, and you were contributing to something good happening instead of something bad happening. Great game.
And that's something that I want to talk about too. It had to be gratifying, as physical and as nasty as it looked. Like playing the game and being a part of something that's bigger than just you alone and having some responsibility for some success. It had to be a gratifying feeling every Sunday coming off that field.
My God.
Now you probably felt bad the next morning, but I can imagine how gratifying it felt, especially on the week where you won. Just being a part of a thing that was just bigger than you, and you were a key part of it. Whatever phase of the game you played a key part of the victory.
Oh, I remember. I tell you, we played the Saints twice a year because they were in a conference.
Yeah.
I was with the Falcons at the time. It was my second year in the league, and we're stretching out. And I was having a great year. I was I was our captain and I was just doing things, but I was just quiet about it. And so the who was the coach again? Who was Bud from the Saints? His son. He's now with the Rams still, I think. The head coach at the time, what was his name? I'm just trying. He's a legend. Anyways, his son was he was walking.
Mora?
What was that? Not Mora. It was before him. Yeah.
Jerry,
the old guy is a Southern guy, and then his son. Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips, okay.
From Phillips. So, but
Right.
Wade was a coach, I think, at the time. So I'm stretching out, and I'm nobody. I never ever, and I'm stretching. And he goes, "Hey Tyrell," he screw my name up. I'm like, "Hey coach, I'm stretching out." Before the game, he was just walking around. He goes, "I wanted to let you know that our team voted for you for the Pro Bowl for special teams," and I'm like, "Cool." Why is he telling me that? He goes, "So take it easy on us." I'm like, "Give me a break. Take it easy on me." So I almost had a punt block because I got run over by their guy.
Uh-huh.
He drove me back right into the punter. But to hear that from a coach, and whether he meant it or not, because they set me up good, because I had to tackle the guy because he went right by me. He got a penalty, but he didn't block the damn punt. But he was trying to soften me up or something. But it was when at times we would get noticed, and especially Doug and I early for me, and really my whole career, I always felt, well, what an honor to be able to, that your peers think, you're playing a game right, and that you have this influence. And like I said, when I left the game, I just, people think I don't drink or smoke or do drugs. I never did drink or smoke. But I love life so much. And people always think I'm on something, and I'm just not. And Doug's the same way. We're just so thankful and grateful for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
What all these other people did for us, the coaching, our parents, and giving us opportunity. And then most importantly, teaching us how to take advantage of an opportunity, whether it's in business or it's in athletics. And God will sort it out, because I was never going to play basketball as much as I tried. But you start winning at certain things, and you realize this is what I like to do. And then you get opportunity, and you get introduced by somebody, and it's just really, really so humbling.
Yeah. And I can only imagine. Now when the fans show you love, that's one thing, but getting the love and the recognition from the guys that you go to battle with and against week by week, man, you can money that's priceless, man. Money can't buy that.
Yeah.
Money can't buy that at all. So yeah, man, listen. Again, I cannot say this enough. I am glad to be on with you guys. Number one, for your energy and your passion, because it gives a fan like me some insight on what it took for you guys to, number one, get to where you at and become a success there, and also to maintain your success once the game is over. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it's a joy to be on with you guys, and I'm soaking it up, man. Listen, however many stories you want to tell, I don't know how long you guys got, but however many stories you want to tell, look, I'm a sponge. I love them. You can never tell enough stories for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we ever meet in person, just keep that in mind. And I live in Atlanta. I'm
Where are you in? What town?
I'm actually in Decatur.
Okay. I lived in Roswell first.
Roswell.
Then I lived up north in Dunwoody, or I was in Dunwoody one year, and then the exit right before 85, back when they had practice in Swanee.
Oh yeah.
Up in Swanee was a Holiday Inn.
Flowery Branch.
What's that?
They're in Flowery Branch now.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
Swanee blew up. So it's a beautiful, great area. So, but I love Atlanta, man. God dang it. I love Atlanta. Boy, I had so much fun. Those guys were so much fun.
Listen, Atlanta's a heck of a place, man. It's a heck of a place. I tell that to anybody.
Yeah. Did you grow up there too?
Actually, I moved to Atlanta when I was in 6th grade.
11 or 12 years
I was
old.
in 6th grade, yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's
yeah, I
college?
spent
What college you go to?
Savannah State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went
Well,
to Savannah State.
obviously in Savannah.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful spot, huh?
yeah. That was an interesting place to go to school.
Wow.
Believe me, yeah. I used to see Shannon Sharp from time to time when he come, but when I went to school, he was still playing, so he wouldn't come very often. He came when it counted, but
Oh, he went to school there. I didn't know.
yeah,
Oh,
Shannon Sharp is a Savannah State alum, but
wow.
yeah, um.
Good for you.
Beautiful place. I love the school. I'm actually planning to go back in October, do a little homecoming celebration. It's
Nice.
it's part of the 20. It's getting close to the 20th year since I went down there for the first time because
Wow.
I got down there in '96, and
Wow.
so yeah, me and some of the guys gonna get together and get down there and have a good old time.
And a boy. A couple
Yeah.
frescas.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's like I said. Listen, y'all gonna get tired of me saying it, but it's a pleasure being on with you guys. And shout out to the chat. Everyone is enjoying you guys' energy. They're enjoying you guys' story. There's quite a few people in the building watching us. Like, listen, I thank all you guys for watching us wherever you're watching us from. If you're new here, please like and subscribe to Chicago Sports Podcast. I guarantee you'll love it here. You can hear more interesting stories from Tim and Doug and some other players and some of the guys that we work here are part of the CSP family. We got plenty of stories, but I know you guys want to hear from the players. And I'm just seeing we have 800 and counting in the building watching us. So, like I said, wherever you guys are watching from, please like and subscribe and welcome to this show. Tim,
Yes, sir.
do you have any prognostications of what kind of success you see from the Chicago Bears this season?
I hate to sound like a broken record, like everyone says, but it's the coaching. I love their style. I love, like I spoke about earlier, I love the aggression they did in Detroit. I used to love that. Some say they were too aggressive, but I love that. You're there to win,
Yeah.
And it always bugged me when they, in base or whatever, anything, if you're in the game, like the conservative thing, I don't know. I like that, and it seemed to work well with them. So I think that's going to be exciting, and I'm excited to see because there's so many things. No one's role is really set until we get going, and that's what happened with Doug and I hate to always say I was as good as Doug, but my experience was very similar to his. When you walk in there and nobody knows you, and then you got 6 weeks if you make it at 110-degree weather. It was ridiculous in Atlanta. You know how that is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you keep making it, and after 2 weeks, all of a sudden you've got a reputation and you've got respect, and you start doing it. And I think this coach brings that type of stuff. He's a no nonsense. I was coached by John Elizik in junior college. He's the winningest junior college coach ever, and he's a lot like Woody Hayes. I was coached by Bill Mallory in college, who was coached with Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes, yeah.
And Woody is just a no nonsense person, which I love that type of consequences. Where if I'm screwing up and you never had to tell me twice, and I'm like, God, the coach yelled at me. I'm like, that's never happening again. I would try to make a point because of my respect.
Yeah. And that's big.
And these coaches, I think, it's not that they demand it, but they earn it. They're going to earn it by the way that look, I don't care if you're Caleb or who you are. You got to show us on the field. And he kind of said that a few times, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not here to coddle people. We're here to look at film and see where you're doing this. You stop doing that or you're gone tomorrow. There wasn't a lot of time to fix it because you got 8 other guys who want your job behind you, who are just a little bit better than you maybe if you don't let them get in there. That's just what it is. So I just love the coaching staff because I think they're going to get the best out of the players, and they're going to get the best players because of the way they coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're on point with that. And you know, I said something a few weeks ago, and I hated to be this guy, but it's a damn shame that it took this long.
Mhm.
It sure is, especially
It's
after last year.
it,
Wow. I
it's
couldn't
it,
believe it. What was
it's
going on?
borderline embarrassing, Tim. I mean, let's just be honest. Like I think I made a
It was important.
comparison of the Bears have been using dial-up internet in 2023 and 2024.
That
You know,
when the time ran out, I was just everyone in the girls were even saying, the girls that don't even watch football, shouldn't they call a timeout or something?
yeah,
Jeez, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was weird.
yeah. Shout out to the Midnight Hammer, man. From Los Angeles, California, born and raised on the south side of Chicago, on Archer and Western. He gave a like and he subscribed to the channel, Midnight Hammer. We appreciate you here at the Chicago Sports Podcast. We're thankful for your subscription and stay tuned. I promise you'll like it here, sir. And he listen, Tim, he's on board with you. He said his favorite story of the preseason is Tyson Bagent signing a $16 million deal.
Wasn't that cool to hear that?
Man,
How did you
awesome.
see that? I mean,
Awesome.
he's just being so real, and that's what it's. I felt like that without the money, though. The money part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I felt
listen.
like just to be able to be there, and the way that he put it, it was so genuine that I never met anyone with money. My dad didn't get running water until he was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I can help people with this, and it was just it's and that response and that humility is so contagious to others. It almost makes you want to go out and bring in a couple people that are homeless or something, and
Yeah.
but those are the things that are so cool to see.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful story, and I was almost crying too when I saw him kind of break down, and I'm like, God, one day you're installing carpet, 2 years early in college, and then I'm on the 50-yard line of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
And I'm sure that resonates with any former player, current player, or anybody that plays any sport, man.
Yeah.
Just
And
knowing
even
what it takes to
college
get there.
level, some of the you just don't realize, God.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's amazing.
And like you said a word, and I'm gonna ask both of you guys, Doug. I'm gonna include you on this. Don't feel left out. I'm sorry, we ain't got to you in a while, but just being a genuine guy. How regular is that in the league? Just finding genuine people that you can, you know what I'm saying, away from the game, just finding genuinely good people. How rare is that when you're playing amongst some of the best guys that ever touched the football?
You know what? It was okay watching them because you know what? A lot of those players that I played with, they came from nothing. Also, they came from large families, a mom and dad working all the time, and they really had to just work to survive and just feed families. So that was the predominant attitude on any team I played on. It was back in the 70s and 80s. Nobody was making a lot of money. Most everybody was under $100,000. And I mean, I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. It is a lot of money, especially back then, devaluation and inflation and all those sort of things. But the bottom line is these were humble people that were coming from the West Virginias and Pennsylvanias in the world. Just backgrounds where, you had 2 or 3 families living in one house or your whole family. I bet my whole family lived within a mile, not a mile, but 200 yards of each other. My uncles and aunts and cousins and grandfathers, everybody was in this little tight circle. And you could walk to your uncle's house, your grandmother's house, in 10 minutes. And that's just not happening anymore. And so it was definitely a whole different, growing up in Western Pennsylvania, I remember we used to get the first day of deer season, there was no schools. They shut everything down. Everybody out in the woods shooting each other, thinking deer. And, it was just things like that that you look back on and go, this is never going to happen again. It's just, and especially, even though I went to Ohio State, like I said, I got hurt the first day thinking, okay, there's that dream gone. But you know what? if you just keep, we talked about earlier about just having a chip on your shoulder. I think everybody needs a chip, even somebody that's super talented, super great, at what he does. If you're motivated by something inside of you, it's going to be twice, 3 times, 4 times what your talent is, because it's going to bring you up to a level you've never been at, and a consistency over a long period of time like nobody else. And because of your size, it was inside here. What kind of heart you have? You're running full speed. You want to run into that guy or not? You want to just act like you're going to hit him, because there's a bunch of fakery going on, and Tim knows all about that. Acting like they're going to hit somebody and then they dive to the ground or go off the side or whatever. Man, it's you have to really grit your teeth those last few seconds, because you say, this is impact. I'm ready for the lunar landing here. You're going to definitely be out after this thing gets hit. And but it was fun. It was fun just even seeing the result of something like that, and having players on your team come up and congratulate you for something that a block, a tackle, a catch, I don't know, whatever. I was a cheerleader too. I was running out of the field every time we won a game and Walter ran into the end zone to win the game for us. I mean, that was like exhilaration, Christmas, Christmas multiple times during the year, winning games, and just knowing the sacrifice that everybody made to get it done.
Yeah. And Tim, before you tell your story, you played that third phase, that special team phase. The special team phase of football does not get the credit that it deserves. Now they've kind of, let me see how to put this. It's not like it used to be when it comes down to the kickoff return process. Yeah. Now the punt return thing is pretty much the same, but you played kickoff return, correct?
I played all of it. I was a special teams is where I really made my mark in the league. I was the first alternate in the Pro Bowl a couple of years. I was voted the second runner-up for special teams player of the year. So my accolades were a lot of that, but I got to back up as well. I got to back up and get to going on certain situations. I was good on short yardage goal line. I started a game with Eric Dickerson once when I first got to the Rams. It was so cool. And I developed into when they needed me, which wasn't a lot because we had other scat backs. I could name a whole bunch of them, but I was always ready. I was always prepared and ready. I knew. Special teams, though, then was it was so ballistic. I mean, a highlight film I made, Charles White's wife actually made clips of like 7 games, and I played in about 80 games my career, and it's just knocking the living hell out of people. I mean, before the wedge could set up, I would split the wedge full speed and just knock this guy. And we're both laid out, knocked out. I got up, fell back on my knees. He was looking through the air hole of his helmet. 3 hits were like that. And then the next kickoff, because they said I had to be out of the game, I talked him into letting me go back in on the last kickoff. We had scored again. I took the guy out about 7 feet in the air. Just the announcers are going nuts and just like, oh my God, it was Tyrell again. He whops it, and they show the replay. And I just lit the guy up. I mean, I flew over the screen. I was upside down and flew past. And I remember getting up, running back to where the tackle was made about 10 yards away from me. And the guy was looking back at me, and his helmet's like looking through the air hole of his helmet. He goes, dude, the guy who just got up, he's like, you crazy, man. I'm like, hey. I mean, it was unbelievable. But to get like Doug said, the recognition from your teammates, and then and then you mentioned a little bit about just players in general, I think, in life, and how do we run across. I was a chapter president for the retired players about 15 years ago. We were chapter of the year. One of the things, not because it's just me, but one of the things I did, I'm really good at connecting people and connecting the guys and getting involved in the community. And we formed a 501c3. We actually already had it. Emery Moore had put it together, I believe. So we fund 8 $12,000 scholarships for kids. We pick a boy and a girl every year, and we give them $3,000 a year for 4 years. Then we get 2 new ones to come in. Then we do a youth football grant. We pick 3 teams. They get $15,000. Tom Serpento, our current president, did a great job of building that up. 5,000 from Home Depot, another 10 from Santos, this place where and these kids, and they come in, and we do it at our golf outing every year, and we make the money, and then we invite the kids, and it's just amazing to see that. But it's not about bragging. It's about how can we make the world a better place
Right.
by what Doug and I do of how do we influence these people. It's not that I want to tell you the story, like, look at me, but it's like, this can happen to you. Whatever your dream is, just do the work. And maybe you had a bad day one day, but you got to dust that off. And there's going to be better ones coming. You look at Michael Jordan, he always tells the story. A lot of failure before you get to where you want to get. And so many of these experiences were unbelievable. Regarding other players, very rarely will you meet a guy who's not a good guy and humble. There's a few out there that think they're still playing and think they're still superstars. There's not a lot of them. And it's kind of sad because they need to drop the humility down a little bit. But I surround myself, and I try to always, when I do an event, and I'm doing something with Dan Hampton tomorrow, and also
Great.
And as a matter of fact, then I got Rudy Rudiger, who I'm friends with, the actual real Rudy from the movie. He's speaking at an event that I set up as well. I didn't set it up, but I got him to speak there. So I do a lot of that stuff. I'm connected to I've met some rock stars, and I bring in to different golf outings, and I don't really even get paid for it. I do it because it's for a charity, and I'll get guys that are millionaires. I got friends with the YPO group, which is a group of men and women who are millionaires, and they grow each other's companies. They're worldwide. So my net that I cast out there is huge. And it's not about me, and Doug will tell you, both of us do this. It's about who can we influence, in a positive way, and how can we. He introduced me to a gentleman I was supposed to meet today, but my car is getting fixed. I'm going to meet him later, and I'm going to talk to him about different other ways to help out others, because there's not a better feeling in the world when I've been part of inspiring somebody, and I get sometimes, randomly, I'm sure gets millions. But I'll get a letter from somebody and said, Tim, you stopped and talked to me about 8 years ago, and I was going to do this, and I ended up doing it. And I went and spoke to a last chance school, about 10 years ago in Joliet. These are kids that are going to kill their teachers, and they have to go to this school. And so I went and talked to 10 different classes. Well, a week later, they all wrote me letters. And I played catch with all of them. After class, I went and played catch with all of them. They're between, 5th grade and 13, 14, 8th, 9th grade. And I got letters in the mail, and I'm reading these letters and said, Tim, because you came in, I was going to kill this person. I was planning on doing this. I mean, these kids, I told Doug, I told you I was sitting there by the teacher. One kid handed me a note, and he said to give it to the lady, so I did. And she goes, you want to see what it says? And I read it, and it says, I want to kill you. This kid just handed it to me. And I'm like, this isn't funny shit. I mean, it's like it, but it's so it brings me back to like, Tim, you have a platform here. You could inspire these kids, and just and yada yada yada. It just goes on and on and on. I get calls every day, and I love it because I can set it up. I can get Rudy to go speak somewhere. I can get Dan Hampton and Otis Wilson and Jim McMahon and Bill Cartwright, and Doug Plank. We nice. All kinds of things. And I just hope that I've inspired somebody, because I had so much help from so many people. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This would not have happened with those people and a lot of luck.
Right. And see, and that's another thing that I've realized, and I've heard a lot of former players say, but I don't think a lot of former athletes in general, or even the current ones, I don't think they really get the power that they really have. Whether you're a superstar, all pro, whatever, or you're just the guy that comes in and plays sparingly, or you don't play at all. The power is not in your gift, it's not in your money, but it's the influence that you have on the future of your sport or the future of this world. Even me, for instance, I'm just a regular guy, works. I stay out of trouble, I keep my face clean and all that. Even I have the power of influence on someone that doesn't know You know what I mean?
Of
But
course, yeah.
speaking to you guys, because you guys are former players, your power, regardless of what era you played in, your power when you say that you were a former professional athlete, that's an automatic spark to anybody that's, especially if they're looking to go in that department, in that field. You guys influence in the way you guys can um lead the next generation just by being who you guys are. You know, it's not, like I said, it's not in the money, it's not about the accolades, anything like that. It's the fact that you've made it to the highest point of your profession. And we all understand and help it too, just to get you guys to where you need to be, or where you have to be to get to where you are. You know, that influence is strong, man. And I wish more of the current guys understood that. And even the guys that, because you know, you run into, and I hate to go down this road, but you run into guys that plays in the NBA, in the NFL, or box, they did anything at the professional level. They may not have gotten to where they needed to be or where they wanted to be in the profession, but they still have a lot to give to their prospective profession. And sometimes they go and give it, you have to come down and you reach out to these kids that's trying to get to where you've been. You know, a lot of these guys do not understand the power that they have in that.
Yeah.
And listen, I totally appreciate you guys knowing and understanding the influence that you had. You know, because I'm like you spoke earlier. Doug had a immense influence on you. You know, and I'm sure you had a hell of an influence on some younger guys. And you're using your platform now to spread that influence out and to inspire. You know, I wish a lot of guys really knew the power that they had.
And that's the thing that I recognize. And they don't have to have the power. What I always say is this: I'm good at going to the party because I'm a riot. And I'm good at throwing the party because I know how to coordinate it. And I know how to get the right guys there. Right, Doug? I mean, I just do. And I'm not bragging about it. I just do. Other people have tried it. They suck. They suck. Some of them suck at it. Some of them suck. You're inviting the wrong guys. Some of the guys just aren't friendly. They're not. And so when I put an event together, I handpick some guys because I know how they are. Sometimes they get paid for doing certain things because it's going to enhance the event, and they're going to make a lot more money because these guys are coming. But then I also let them know what they're going to do and what we want you to engage with the fans. They don't want us talking to each other. So it's little things like that. But you're right. You don't have to be a pro athlete to do it either. And Rudy Rudiger, in his part of his speech, it's all about leveraging yourself. All about the people you know. I don't need to know how to do it. I need to know somebody who knows how to do it. I just know the guy.
Yeah.
I know the guy. I always say, I don't need to know how. When I was a recruiter, I was a technical recruiter. I placed engineers. These guys are building rocket ships. And all. I'm like, what the hell am I doing there? I don't need to know how to build the watch. I need to know how to tell what time it is. So I can recognize a great engineer based on their resume and some things that I was taught, some buzzwords, things that come out. I'm like, wow, I know right away they're amazing. The school they went to, some of the things, but I don't have a clue how they build a component or a mechanism. Have no idea. But I was a really good recruiter because I could recognize, but I was taught by some amazing people. And but it's about grit. So those guys, there's some guys who really don't. Doug will tell you, I'm always usually the one throwing it because I love doing it. They don't always are good at throwing the party, but they're good at showing up, though. You need some of these guys to just, they're willing. And that's what Emery Moorhead, he used to do a great job. He's always willing to do things. Dan Hampton, Doug, the best of the best. And people love these guys. And you bring up the crowd because they're there. And they bring so much to the table. And so the guys, not everyone has to have the same gift, but being willing to, you know what, the kid's going to be excited that you're there. You played, and you don't need to tell, they know. But some of the guys just aren't, they're not built like that. And they would like to show up every once in a while, and it's good. And most of the guys are great.
Yeah, I've heard that. I heard most of the guys are great, man. And we're working with a guy tonight that's pretty good at it himself.
You or Mr.
Doug.
Oh, get out of here. What you just said makes so much sense. Honestly, you need a motivation inside of you. More than just say, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a dentist, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't hear very many people wanting to be professional athletes because they know how few get there, how much work it takes. And so, you know what? Like I said before, you really need something along your younger years to be disrespected, stuck at the end of the line, whatever it was. And all that goes all the way through life. You know, I got to Ohio State, got hurt the first day, had surgery several days later. You know, everybody was treating me as a bad choice. You know, I was like the bottom of the recruiting year that year. Oh my gosh, we got this Plank kid. He can't even make it through one day without getting hurt. You know what? And you hear all that in circles like, oh my gosh, he doesn't have what it takes. He doesn't have a heart. You know what, man? The first time I put that helmet on, I don't care. You're going down. Anybody I saw that day, I was going to hit. Just like Tim said, you know, there's a difference between people that are willing to do that and people that aren't willing to do that.
That is so true. Yeah. Doug, I remember some of these guys, these starters there. Cliff, I better not mention his name. When I was with the Falcons, great guy, great running back too. He's like, man, Timmy T, man, I'm third on the depth chart on the kickoff team. I don't like kickoff team, man. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I can't do that. He hated being hit. He was a great player though, but he would get in there and you never know. He would say that, but he hated a lot of these guys do not like special teams because you're flying, especially back in the day. You don't know where all of a sudden you're flying through the air because someone just ear holed you. And it was brutal back then, but they a lot of them didn't. And it was kind of funny when you say that, you know.
It's funny, Tim, too. You have to be willing to take chances. When I got to the Chicago Bears, I was a strong safety, a marginal strong safety at Ohio State. I get to the Chicago Bears. They're starting free safety the year before it gets hurt during training camp. Jack Pardee, our head coach, walks into our defensive meeting room and he goes, hey, any of you guys in here play free safety? I didn't even have to think about it.
What a boy. That's my boy.
I had never played free safety. I had to go in between practices to figure out. I knew he was in the middle of field deep. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be Paul Krause. I wanted to be a linebacker middle. I wanted to be Dick Butkus playing free safety. And, you know, so I'm just saying it's not like Tim and I feel had some luck going our way. We got a chance. But, man, once you get that chance, it's on you. It's on you every single day. And you got to be driven to say.
Everyone's trying to take your job. Everyone. You are. Go, Doug.
And you never know who's watching.
I'm watching film. I'm lifting weights. I'm looking at guards and centers. Is there run or pass on film? You know, and I screw the sideline. I don't care about that. I want the end zone camera because that's how I see the game. I'm looking at a free safety. Two guards, two tackles, split for how far they're split. And you know what? People do habits. They get in the habit of doing anything over and over again, not at the beginning of the game, because you know what? Then they're all fresh. They can do whatever they want. Oh, they're going to think this way, go this way, flash, flea flickers, all that kind of run it into the line, throw it back to the quarterback. Wait 1 quarter. They're tired. They're exhausted. You know what? They're done with faking. They're just trying to get their job done. And that's when you want to start watching keys because they will cheat when they line up, show you whether it's going to be a run or a pass, leaning forward, the split between the guards and tackles. I'm telling you, you know, that's why that 46 defense was so critical. We evaluated all that personnel, splits, what's the down and distance, who's in the game. Everything went into that digest. It's almost like an artificial intelligence. And we with the best defense to be called against that particular play on that particular side of the field, that down, that quarterback, all the receivers in splits, and that's all we did. That's what the 46 defense was, artificial intelligence way before its time.
And the truth is definitely in the details.
Yep.
It's definitely in the details. It's definitely in the details.
When you know what you're doing, I use the 2 words, intuitive and instinctive. You don't even have to think about it. You naturally, whereas going back to complicating things, when you have to start thinking, but when you practice enough and so often and so repetitive, you just naturally do that. Again, I go back to the man coverage. We'd have to read man coverage coming out of the backfield when we throw a pass sometimes. So the linebacker is, he's got me. So I would take my first step and I would read him. Is he taking a step back or is he coming right up because it's going to be man coverage. If he comes right up, I go right at him. If he's dropping, I hook up in a zone. I don't even think about it. It's just instinctive and intuitive because I've done it so much. And all of a sudden I'm like, I can do this like Billy White Shoes Johnson. And I'm thinking, no, maybe not as good as him, but I can do it.
Yeah.
I can run routes, and I understand it. But when you do it so repetitively, and Doug will tell you, it's just we don't even think. And so we get to go, boom, heat-seeking missile. In special teams, I stay in my lane. I know how to set guys up and run right by them. I'd be free. And that's not good when you got me free.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm going to win this battle, but I'll tell you what, you're getting hit full speed with 203 pounds maybe coming at you.
I heard that.
But
that ain't light, but it's something to be said about preparation. Preparation makes you one step faster.
Totally.
At least. You don't even have to think. You just, and that's why they go, run it again.
Yeah.
You're watching film. The old film days when they had film.
Oh, man.
Remember that, Doug? Ernie Zampese. Holy smokes, Ernie Zampese. Me and Mike Gooman, I got to tell you, this is a funny story. So we'd be watching film. Ernie Zampese was our offensive coordinator and a genius. He did the whole Air Coryell stuff in San Diego Chargers. And Ernie was a genius. And man, oh man, he would smoke. Me and Gooman would bet. It was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday meeting. How many cigarettes is he going to smoke today? During just this meeting, it was always between 4 and 3. And so we bet then Thursday we said I'd say 3, and then Friday, and whoever won would buy the other guy lunch on Friday. So it's called the easy count. I still have my playbooks where me and Gooman, it's like Gooman and Timmy T. And so we kept score, and I still have my playbooks with the Ernie Zampese count. We're in a room filled with smoke. Ernie's smoking cigarettes in our offensive meeting with receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. I mean, just firing up calls left and right. It was unreal.
Yeah,
but he was this is a guy who went back and forth. And because of that repetitiveness and making sure your guys understand it, not complicated, keeping it simple. And when you know it and it's that simple, you're going to, like you said, Darius, it's going to give you a step at least.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah. And listen, that in that third phase, and that really in all phases of football, because they say preparation removes pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like preparation, it kills pressure. So if you're prepared, and it's something to say because some of the guys that's in the Hall of Fame, it wasn't all about their physical ability.
Oh.
It was that they were so instinctive.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like the Atlanta Falcons had a linebacker here some years ago, maybe about 20 years ago. Oh shoot. Probably about 22 years ago in Keith Brooken. He wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't the biggest guy, but his instinct showed in every film session, man. And that's something that, is money can't buy. You can be as athletic as you want to be if you don't have these instincts to do what's asked and do what's necessary for this team. Not the teams you played on last year or the year before that. For this particular team, this particular group. If it's not engraved in you to do it with this particular group, you are in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's the actual fact.
I just remember a big banner at Ohio State: luck equals preparation and opportunity meets opportunity. And it's so true. You go, oh my gosh, you were so lucky. No, I was prepared. And when it became available, I took advantage of it. That was my luck. I'm not saying me, anybody, anybody that got put in that position, because, it was proven that this team, under duress is going to continue to run these plays. Like you said, Tim, like the last 3 games, more than the last 3 games, I would get the last 6 games.
Sure, right.
They always try to trick me because, hey, Doug, here's some bait. Come on in here. And we want you to come up here, a line of scrimmage, and then we're going to throw a bomb over your head. So I was watching all those linemen. If none of those linemen came across the line of scrimmage downfield, they weren't going to run it. They were going to pass it. That's why I didn't want to look in the backfield. They could do all that silliness.
That's a great point.
Go back and then turn around and flea flicker. No, the linemen are all pass blocking.
That's such a great point, Doug. You're right, because so from what he said, you get a guy as aggressive as Doug Plank, dude. You got those fakes those will work.
Yeah,
and he'll come up. All of a sudden, someone's doing a post. That hesitation will cost him a TD. So
yes,
that's
indeed.
the cool part about Doug's position when you're that aggressive, like a Ronnie Lott, like the guy with the Bengals, Fletcher.
Yeah.
These guys were just even Carrier was a stud UCLA guy. But
Steve Atwater.
You can do a lot of things too when they're that aggressive. So it's such a fine line to be able to be that aggressive, but that's where the film comes into play for the most part. But then they look at Doug Plank's film, say, man, he's coming up making some plays. We're going to jack and we'll run a few, and then we're going to fake it and we're going to hit the bomb. And so it's he's always got to think about that. As aggressive as he is until he fully commits, like, I've seen the ball, I know where it's at, I'm going up. But
here's why I love special teams. I didn't have any deep responsibility. On the kickoff team, I didn't do anything. I hit a big line.
How hard can it be running full speed at somebody? It's not hard.
Oh, my
Everybody's hunters.
There's
a whole bunch of hunters except the guy with the ball. He's the prey.
Exactly. You're not going to get beat deep on kickoff team. Your job is to get on there and take somebody out.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, too. Offensive linemen in the wedge are not used to you coming and attacking them. They usually go after you. Tim, same thing you do. Run down the field, give the old fake off. Like you're looking somewhere else. Over here. You already know where you're going. It's going to be one of those three guys in that wedge. Maybe the furthest guy away from you. You hit him on the side of the helmet. I've knocked out linemen before. But you know what? They got somebody coming. Yeah. They're looking down the field. No, I'm coming in an angle from the side.
Where they don't see it. It's crazy. And then if you're doing crosses, like I used to have L3, like there's 5 guys on each side. You'd cut them out, and I would say to my guy, who, when I'd be dropping back, I would one of the guys when I was with the Falcons, we said, I'm going to be looking at your guy, but I'm going to get my guy. So they see you looking at you for the 1 second. He thinks you're going at him, and I would run past him to the other guy, and the other guy wasn't expecting it. Little stupid things that are just a little hit move without slowing me down, which maintains me in my lane, because you want to stay in the lane. You run out of your lane, there's a big gap there. That's where they hit it, right? Yeah. So you got to stay in your lane. That was the other thing. As silly as it sounds, it could cost you a TD if you're not disciplined with that. Yeah. And I was fortunate to have really good special teams coaches. They took it very seriously. Like, we're not losing this because of special. And more importantly, they did the aggressive thing. One of the coolest things ever, John Robinson used to come up to me all the time, our head coach. Timmy, set the tone, buddy. That meant light somebody up. And I'm just like, wow, coming from John Robinson, USC coach, I would just get so excited. I mean, and I'd come off the field after some of these hits, and he's the first guy out there to high five me. He was so inspirational to me, because he was not just a smart man, a nice man, a great coach, a great leader, all of those things. And I got to play with Charles White, Eric, all these amazing athletes. With half of them, I was watching them as a kid, and they're still on the team.
Yeah. That has to be surreal, man. And like I said, I cannot say enough about that third phase, man. I watched the game, and sometimes you got people going to the bathroom and stuff like that during the third phase, doing the punt or the kickoff and something like that. I'm locked in, man. I'm locked in because I really value that part of the football game. And I have much respect for the guys that do it, because those guys are truly doing the dirty work. You hear me?
I loved it. If I was my own agent, I would have been paying them to play. I didn't care. It wasn't about them. The camaraderie, and it was literally like children with grown-up skills.
Yeah.
It was so much dang fun. And to this day, I talked to Jimmy Everett, all the guys. I talked to all of them, and one story after another. And they went on and lived their lives, and they've all had great careers and outside of football. And but it's just such a it brings this feeling in my body, this dopamine in my head that is really unexplainable. And that's what I want and desire is to try to have as many people that I run across experience that feeling for them for just one day.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just so, I don't know. It's made life so much fun in my career after football, and staying connected, keeping my toe involved with a lot of the different things the former players are doing, the NFLPA, the NFL alumni. We all are connected, and we're staying connected with everyone. So it's just been a dream. I'm eternally grateful, man. And this guy right here, Mr. Plank, to be friends with him, it's just so much fun. It's just, I shake my head like I can't. How can can I tell him? I got a great story. You ready for another good one?
Hey, we got one more.
It's a good one. My buddy Doug is a little bit forgetful, a little excited, a little bit forgetful. He stayed with me 5 times. I've always had to mail him back something because he forgot it. But this one took the cake. So I'm going to tell the luggage story, Doug, instead of the keys. That's another day. So, I get Doug all set. He leaves, and I got a next room and just make sure he got everything. And he's like, yeah, I'm cool. And then about a half hour, because he was leaving in the morning for his flight. So I give him a call because I witnessed something. So I say, hey, buddy, how you doing? He says, good. I just got on the plane. I'm getting ready to sit in my seat. I go, are you? I go, you feel a little light? You feel a little light today? No, I'm good. Oh, I said, because I just opened up my front door and your whole luggage is there. So I'm going to just mail that to you, buddy, okay? Because you forgot. He drove to the airport. His bag. It's a big bag, How do you get on the plane without your luggage? Like, I got to go check my luggage. But Doug I must not have any luggage. He didn't have
Doug, where you thought you was going? You thought you'd run to the store and come back?
I think he did, man. He didn't even. I go, Doug, this is the greatest thing ever, buddy. Don't worry. He goes, oh, man. You know what? I knew something wasn't doing. I don't want to tell you the things that I've done, but that's the story. That was so. He's such a good sport.
I didn't have any responsibilities or anything. I'm just going down to get the airport, get on the plane. I never thought about the suitcase. But I did know that it was going to be there the next month, so maybe I could just use the clothes out of that. Yeah, there is a price.
Very entertaining. The guy's very entertaining. He doesn't even mean to be.
Oh, yeah, I know. From my time of working with him, I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen it. Well, on that note, guys, listen, man. Like I said earlier, it's a pleasure working with you guys. This has been a blast. I am so thankful to be hanging with you guys tonight. Shout out to some people that I miss. Listen, chat. You all been listening to these stories. Listen, I've been locked into them, so I didn't get a chance to recognize the new people that came in here saying something to us. Samo, shout out to you. Long time no see, brother. Kes the Canuck, bro. I know I'm late, man. I'm sorry, man, but these stories had me locked in. Mr. James Children, shout out to you. You're always in the building. Bear down to you. Aunt Mash, shout out to you, sir. Shout out to the Honey Bear. She's always in here representing. We appreciate you for hanging out with us tonight. We've been locked in for 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Tracks. Shout out to everyone in the chat. And shout out to you two guys, Tim, Doug. Pleasure working with you guys. Listen, we have to do this again.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We have to do this again. And I appreciate you guys' insight as former players. I always love to listen to you guys tell your stories. I know you guys got other things to do, and I listen. I can listen to you guys all night, but I'm pretty sure these people in the chat want to go home, want to lock in at home and watch something else, and gonna catch us on the next one. Peace and love to everybody. You guys be safe out there. Shout out to thanks again for checking us out wherever you're watching us from. Chicago Sports Podcast. Like I said before, if you're new, please like and subscribe. Any closing remarks before we get up out of here, fellas?
Just thank you so much, Darius. This was so much fun, and I'm blessed and honored to be able to, tell our stories because it's been great. God is great. I love Doug Plank and his wife. They're just, it's hard to believe he did what he did because he's such a nice guy. When that switch goes off, it's over. That's all I have to say.
You're right. I mean, your experiences, and Tim and I and anybody that played in the National Football League, I think you got great experiences and memories, not just about games. It's mostly the players, sometimes the coaches, it just, and winning when you're supposed to lose. I mean, I always loved that. Oh my God, we're going to kill this team. The other team was saying that. And, I'm just proud of the fact that even the games that we lost, I still was able to just play with some enthusiasm and play for your teammates. That's what it's all about.
Amen.
Amen. Amen to that. And with that, we're gonna say goodbye to you guys, man.
Thank you.
Peace up and bear down to everyone. Have a good night. You fellas, thanks again. It's been an honor.
Thank you. Doug, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay, Tim.
Love you, brother. Darius, thank you, brother.
And we have to do this again, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
We got it.
Bear down.
Okay.